Mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you're at in the country. I am Brick Something, and hello. Nice little clean, just me. But actually, it's not just going to be me. If you watch Sunday's show, you're like, oh man, it's just this guy. How boring. Let's bring on some friends today to talk about SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con, which was this past weekend and sort of the end of last week. And during Sunday's episode, I was hoping to maybe have some time to touch on some San Diego stuff, but I was like, just ran out of time. Too long, too much Tokyo talk from this guy. Let's just end it. And then I threw out there, hey, does anybody want to talk San Diego with me on Tuesday? And these guys were like, yeah, let's go. So first, thank you for watching, guys. That means there's other people on the other side of this thing. And two, thank you for stepping up to come on and help me talk through SDCC. So going clockwise, we've got Larry from Larry's Geeky World. What's going on, man?
Hello. Working.
Well, hopefully not now, because
no, I'm on the floating holiday today and tomorrow. So
wonderful. Congratulations, because if not, your work is like, what the heck? Ryan, Mr. Ryan Clark, what's going on, man? How are you today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, look at everybody's toys. Look at that. It's so fun. And then over there below me is Brian, Endless Fables. What's going on, man? What do you got? What tail?
What is that?
I'm working on a project.
Oh, teasing. So he's going to be working on a project with a giant fish tail. Can you hold that up real quick? Let's see if my bio. No, I can't identify it. I can't identify it. It looks sharky, but I don't know.
It looks sort of like this one. Sort of looks like that.
Okay, look at you. You're gonna build yourself a $400 dragon.
I'll build my own.
Okay. So today, so this is my first time with Larry and Ryan, and Brian was with me before, and on his first time, I completely dropped out and he just ran the show. So that's not something I normally do, but it happened with this guy. So just a heads up. Real quick before we get started, curious, have any of you ever been to San Diego Comic-Con, or like what's your sort of like, if not, what's your understanding, or like, I don't know. I'm always curious, how do people see this thing called San Diego Comic-Con? We can just kind of go and wherever folks want to jump in.
Never been, always wanted to go.
Mostly
what I've seen is always from like other media, like IGN and recently now other toy tubers and toy photographers and stuff like that channels. My only real experience with conventions or toy conventions are local Lexington Comic-Con and
Nice.
Cincinnati Toy Expo and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, basically what Larry just said, but Canadian. So I haven't been able to go to SDCC. I mostly consume it through Instagram or toy tubers or basically that throughout the years. Most of my convention experience is through local shows. I'm in the Ottawa area. I've done Fan Expo Canada, which is the big Canadian convention in Toronto. I've done that a few times. It's been a long time though. I would very much like to go back. But I do definitely want to go to SDCC and New York Comic Con at least once.
Yeah. How about you, Brian?
I haven't been to Comic-Con. Probably my biggest convention's probably been PowerCon, the last one that they had. Then I've went to Atlanta a couple times and Joe Fest. So not really Comic-Cons, but cons in themselves.
Sure.
And I just learned that me and Larry's probably live very close together. I didn't know that. So
Oh, yeah.
Meeting of the minds. So I asked just because I think people different depending on your entry point, you have a different sort of like concept of the show. And what's a trip is that this one is actually the 50th. I have been a handful of times, well, 2 handfuls of times. Once when I was younger, much younger, and then in college, a couple of different times when I was living in Santa Barbara, and it was like 4 hours. The funny thing is, I grew up in the LA area, and I'm sorry, California is huge. I grew up in the LA area, but not too far from San Diego. Like back in the day, you could probably get down there in about an hour and a half. But like probably when I was in towards the end of high school, it was more like closer to 2 hours. So that wasn't too bad. Then I moved to Santa Barbara, add another maybe 2 hours to that. And I was going down to the San Diego area a lot. So I went down a couple of different times, and it was different back then. That would have been 94 to 98. And by then it was already sort of growing, but it was largely comic books, toys, indie video stuff. And then throughout that time period, you started to see Hollywood coming in because the Hollywood comic book movies and genre movies started getting real big, and it became this sort of place to like show off whatever new genre film, TV show that you get going on. And as you all know, as time has gone by, what was once geek culture has largely become pop culture, right? I mean, I'm tripping that I got to watch Manifest 4 movie in the span of a couple of weeks. And so then when I went back, I'd say around 2006 was the first one, then 2008, then 2009, and then again, I think 2013 or so. No, it must have been 14 because we had a second kid. And that was already like 11 years ago. And my understanding, it was already huge during those times, and like kind of a little bit of not a nightmare, but it can be like if you're trying to see certain things, it can be a challenge, right? And I wasn't all about like trying to fall in line for Hall H and do all that. But that said, friends have been trying to get me to go down in the last 15 years. And, you would think I'd do this. And they're like, hey, why don't you come down? A lot of the folks were there. Folks from Canada, right? Kevin Toying Around was there. Mega J Retro was there. And Danny. Adam from Highly Articulated went. So there were like a bunch of folks that made that trek. And they're like, why aren't you here? One, I had a fairly good excuse this year because I was in Japan. But even if I wasn't, I'll tell you, it's daunting. It's a huge thing. So anyway, just for context, it's huge. There's all sorts of stuff to cover. We're only going to talk about like a handful of the toy stuff. But there's this whole other side of like, there's actually comic books, Artist Alley, indie art, art toys, design stuff, clothes, cosplay. Like it's just huge, not to mention TV, movies, etc. So I could probably, and everybody else could probably do SDCC content for like the whole year and then come back next year. But today we're focusing on toys. You all kind of had things that you wanted to focus in on. So we're going to do that. I have a couple of things that I'd like to talk about. So let's do it. Overall impressions, though, before we get started, if there was one thing that you're like, that is the thing that stood out to me the most, I'd love to hear what was each of yours. And sorry, I probably should have prepped you, but just came with it right now.
I think with me is the re-release of the Origins Castle Grayskull with the retro paint job and the floor mat or play mat and all the other stuff, because I was able to find the Origins one at my local Meijer for like 40 something bucks, and I was like, that's a steal. So now they got this cool one that has more stuff. It's like, do I want to spend over $100 for it?
Yeah, well, we'll take a look at it because it's pretty. It's for sure pretty, and it's kind of special for sure in terms of MOTU history. How about you, Ryan?
For me, the thing that stood out, and we'll get into it in more detail later, but was the Marvel Legends Mephisto reveal, because we'll get into more detail. But that was my God I have of the that was my God I have of the whole show, for sure.
Yeah, I hear that. That was definitely like a big reveal. We'll take a look at that. There's so much Marvel Legends, and we'll see if we can focus on that and maybe a couple of other things. How about you, Brian? Endless Fables, I should say, so folks get to know that brand. Endless Fables.
There's several things that have stuck out to me, which all the long box heroes, Monster Force, all those really hit me pretty hard. And then what Jada's doing and
Yeah.
what Mondo's doing too. So
Three.
about
No,
a lot of different things.
no, I'm with you, and don't worry, we will actually cover all three of those. Yeah, that's the nice thing about this year. It seems like the indie toy thing is really trying to kind of squeeze its way in this year in a big way. So let's definitely talk about Big Bad Workshop, and then there's some panels. Friends of the channel, obviously, Spiro Toys, Flipor, Cursed Dead, things that basically people have heard me go on and on about here. So it was really nice. And Four Horsemen, of course, it was nice to sort of see them at this, place that's really truly been like the realm of your Hasbro, your Mattel, your Super 7, NECA, and then of course Mascot. So
it's a bucket list item for a lot of those guys and gals.
Yep.
So.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and say hello to the folks who are joining us today on a Tuesday in this special episode, because it's summer and I've got a little bit more time. And to highlight that, Brian Carr saying, "Happy Tuesday, Brick. Happy Tuesday to you too, sir." E. McNeil is driving and listening. Hey, man, be safe. But yes, we'll try to keep you from falling asleep. And we'll describe with great visual detail. No, actually, we won't. But when you get home on the replay, as you know, and I'll just remind everybody now, at the bottom of the screen, you'll be seeing a link scrolling through bit.ly/bricksomethingnews, capital B, capital S, capital news. And then also there's a little QR code that'll drop down in that little corner. Go to there. All the links will be ready shortly after the show. So you can actually see the stuff that you've heard us going on and on about while you've been driving, E. That was E. That was this guy, Mr. Ryan Clark, saying, "Good evening, everybody. Up Nerd Podcast. Why were there no figures for the bear announced?" Good question. What's up, Hulu? Could the it's a stupid question. I was going to say, could the bear figures sell? But man, these days it feels like anything could. There's always and that's the beauty of what I was alluding to with Comic-Con, that nerd culture has sort of become pop culture. So buying toys of whatever you're into, even if it's not necessarily obviously a nerdy superhero type thing, people just do that now. Like, I know so many people who never looked at toys before who are now buying Lego, and they had no idea that I was so into Lego. So why weren't there the bear figures? Maybe somebody's likeness, who knows? There's a bear at the Four Horsemen booth, though. Larry's Geeky World is here. What's going on? Unmasked. Now you know what he looks like underneath that Sentai mask. Let's see. This guy, he says, "We shall begin snortly." I don't know what was up with that. Caesar Prime. Hello, one of the primes. What's going on?
That's my brother.
Oh, cool.
That's my twin brother.
He says, cool. Twins. Gotta love the twins. JMax77, what's good with you, man? Good evening to you too. Nolan is here. See, Canada's all up in this chat today and on the show. Cool. Paul Morales, what's up? Hello. Below Canada, just a little bit in Portland. What's going on, Blake? Good to see you. Zio Adams, far from Portland and Canada. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Big Pig Hand. And let's see, did I miss anyone? Spaded One, what's going on, man? Giggity. Good to see you, man. I see, hang out with him on the on Toy Picks all the time with David in their chat. Thanks for coming through, man. And let's see, there's the hand. And yeah. So as far as people are sending out what they interested them as well, I'd love to hear from the chat. So we heard from these guys. So for example, Twin is saying Ecto Glow, Ghostbusters, and Ecto One is a thing that stands out for him. Would love to hear what other things folks were interested in. But only so much time. We are going to try and focus and blow through. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Let's see if I can do this right. First off, I gotta say, let me show this. I really gotta say that I didn't go to the show, and I haven't gone in a long time. So I, like most of us here, rely on the good folks who do go and cover it all. So I wanted to first let folks know these are the folks that were my sort of go-tos for coverage of San Diego Comic-Con 2025. And if you've never seen that set of that link, that URL that I'm sort of sending you down there, this is basically what it looks like eventually. So Toy Arc, we're going to rely on heavily today because they're, like, to me, the best. And I've been in other people's chats being like, where were those pictures? Where were those pictures? Here, just use this link, because Toy Arc every year provides an SDCC toys and collectibles sort of link that has, like, it's all listed out. And if you, handy with a browser and can do a Command F or a Control F, you can figure it out real good. So Toy Arc we're relying on heavily. Toy Migos, always great, and they'll be using their site in a couple of hours on their show. But the Toy Migos did a lot of great interviews also on their YouTube channel with June from Jada, because they're real tight with him. And they basically went from booth to booth. They did Marvel Legends interviews, etc. The Toy Daddies did the same. Those guys are awesome. They just did their big recap yesterday. Here's the Migos. They did their big recap of sort of everything they saw, the people they got to hang out with. Sounded like a great time. Jay from Geek Dad Life, always great with the toy coverage. And they're going to be doing one. Might they be doing it now? Or maybe Wednesday or something, because they weren't able to do the Sunday live stream. Toy Habits are great. I think it was just last night. It was them and Mega J, who's here as well, got together and did a big long stream and covered a lot in like 2.5 hours, which unfortunately I don't have the time for today. So Mega J Retro, Toy Habits website is great. Carlos from the Badass Reviews, both on YouTube and on IG. But I will say that he in particular is real fast with the reviews. So he got some of those exclusives, went home, filmed some stuff, and is already starting to show some of it off. And Wade from Unparalleled Universe, both on YouTube and on his IG, have been sort of sharing different coverage. He did a nice 2-hour walkthrough on the floor, did some booth coverage, and then he did a bunch of stuff on IG. So shout out to everybody there. And again, extra special shout out to Toy Arc, who we are going to be relying on heavily over on this page.
I think you should also shout out Toy Shiz as well. He is very thorough with his coverage.
For sure. I was just sharing, absolutely shout out. There were a bunch of folks who did really great stuff. These were just the folks that I ended up relying on and used a lot. But you're right. I don't think that I actually ended up looking at a lot of his stuff. But usually I watch his like coverage of like the, what do you call it? The Hasbro event and the McFarlane event. But I didn't actually see his for whatever reason this year or seek it out. But yes, Toy Shiz is dope. And a lot of great photos, and he's smart because he actually puts his watermark on there. Okay, so this is the SDCC coverage on Toy Arc I was referring to, and you can kind of see its date order by newest first. So if you're following along during the show next year, you can just keep reloading and you'll sort of see what's updated. And, if new things get put out, they'll do like multiple posts. So they'll do like a Mattel post and then, they added new stuff, and they'll do another Mattel post. They did the same with Jada. So check this all out. And again, at the end of the show, use that URL, and it will provide all these links for you. If you're here live, if I can remember, I will do this and drop it in the chat. Okay. Real quick, I do want to shout out Gabrielle. What's going on, man? Who just dropped in. Didn't get to say hi. And then let's see what folks have said so far. Up Nerd Podcast Network is saying, my weird jokes aside, it's interesting that Transformers had no presence at all, and Hasbro's biggest thing really was G.I. Joe. As far as the main stuff, they had, stuff around, I want to say, but they had a collab. Wasn't there like a big Transformer that everyone was like freaking out about because it was so huge? Anybody see that?
I know there's a guy dressed like a giant Galactus running around the con.
Yes,
Yes,
that was definitely the biggest thing this weekend.
The World Eater was definitely there. Okay. But yeah, maybe not. That I do think it's always interesting. It's interesting to me how Hasbro as a company juggles that. They've got so much, almost like sort of competing with one another for attention, but also in some cases, I guess, dominating the show. Spaded One is saying Jada. Yeah, Jada was my star of the show this year for all the stuff they're showing with, and then Mesco in a close second for sure. We'll take a look at some of that stuff. Caesar Prime, in addition to the Ecto stuff, also like 2000X Masters. We'll look at that, and a big fan of Pixel Dan's coverage. Oh my God, I left Pixel Dan off. I was actually watching a lot of his and Robo. I'll go back and update that list. I've never met Pixel Dan, but I have met Robo, and he's great. And I'm sorry for leaving you off, Robo. My bad. Rob Zamora is here. What's up? Rob, did you try and head down there? Because you're not too far from the show. I mean, relative. And then same with this guy. It's not Sunday, and you are not first, but you can claim it. What's up, Ron? You're not too far either. Yeah, there was this giant Grimlock. That's what I was thinking about.
Okay.
And then Darth Primus is here. What's up, man? Good to see you. Okay. Now let's truly get into this. See, as I scroll through this, I'm like, oh man, we're not going to talk about this. But that's just the reality. There is so much. Let's go ahead and get started with, I think that's what I was going to do. I was going to show you these folks, but we don't need to do that. I shouted them out. Let's talk about Jada real quick. I'm curious, any of you have bought into Jada's stuff?
Not yet.
Nope.
I held out for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm really heavily on board now.
Okay. Yeah.
I got the first couple serial monsters, and then I was living vicariously through other collectors for the Street Fighter stuff.
Yep.
I was holding off. I was like, it's really great. I don't know if I have the space to commit to another line, but they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then Walmart Canada put them down to put down all their stock to like $20 Canadian. And I was like, I can't pass up that price. So I went and got like 5 figures in one weekend, and now I'm caught up. And I caught up with their Tony the Tiger and the Chester Cheetah. So yeah, Jada is.
So you're spread across the cereal mascots line, the Street Fighter line. Yeah. Cool. Did you do Universal Monsters too? No,
I hadn't.
Okay.
That was a bit before my
you
time
haven't gone back.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the price, and the thing is, these are like $20 to $25 figures, the basics, and that's part of the beauty of what they do, at least at this point. How about you, Brian?
I've got a few of the Street Fighter figures. Trying to pick and choose on those, but they're great figures. I've got my wife causes me to get all of the serial characters and those. So she's like, "Don't you want that?" Well, yeah, I do. But so
that's great. You're like, okay, I guess we are, because I'm said excited. It, not me.
I'm excited about Frosty. So
yeah,
so that's definite for me for sure.
Yeah, that was an awesome reveal. Okay, well, let's take a look at just are there any? Well, basically, the quick rundown is that they did expand on the Mega Man line, as well as had an exclusive with the Mega Man line, which I've talked about, which I just think is incredibly cool. I think they're amazing stuff, but I don't really partake. Are there anybody here into the Mega Man line? Have anything that they want to focus in on these guys?
I have a Mega Man.
Yeah. You want Mega Man?
Yeah. I kind of want a few of them. I just don't know which ones I would pick up yet. But Mega Man for sure. I like the light blue one there.
Mm-hmm.
Keep forget which power that is. My cousins were ones who played tons of Mega Man back in the day.
I played it too, and no way can I remember at this point, like which levels, which colors, etc. But it still hits me on a sort of nostalgic level, and I think the designs are really cool. Anything else in here that folks are like, chomping at the bit to kind of geek out on? They are beautiful.
They're really cool.
Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
But they're really cool. I'm just amazed at how deep they've went into Mega Man, and I didn't know there was that much interest in Mega Man, so it was kind of a surprise line to me,
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not a crazy Mega Man guy. I have the Mega Man figure from Series 1. I got it just to check it out. It's pretty great. So I don't need to go deeper with that because I didn't really play the games. I played them occasionally, but not as obsessively as some people seem to have. But I know from the there's a lot of members of the Toy Tuber community that were really, really excited when we started, and they're like Veebs and Pixel Dan, and they are just always gushing about these figures, and they're super stoked that it's continuing and it's going deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yep. I think it's really great. I do have to, contrary to public belief, I do draw limits, and I have not bought a single Mega Man figure and probably will not, but I have handled them. I think they're fantastic. In another life with more money and more space, I totally would. But how about Street Fighter stuff? They revealed we actually got to see this guy, which is awesome. He's huge. And I love what's going on with his face, and the bird is cool, interesting. Sort of, I'm always looking at solutions for like how different companies are approaching little animals, critters, how they doing the wings here, and I think it's really well done. But are there anything?
I've been waiting on that for a while, so it'll be one I'll pick up.
T-Hawk, get some T-Hawk action. He's huge too. I didn't quite clock how he compares to, say, Sagat, which is one of the figures that we actually have in hand. But he's a big guy.
Was T-Hawk not already revealed like a year ago or at Toy Fair? Yeah,
he was. I think what's extra impressive here in this one is, well, two things. Since then, I've seen the Storm Collectibles, not Storm Arena, but the Storm Collectibles T-Hawk revealed. And then seeing this and just kind of like looking at the... I'm weird with scale, and I could actually go with both if in my head, T-Hawk could be really big or sort of average sized. And to me, I was just like, okay, cool. I think he looks really great in sort of this final form. And now I have more frame of reference since I know what Sagat is like. But what's impressive is, to your point earlier, Brian, about just like how fast they were with Mega Man. Same goes with their Super Street Fighter line, or their, what is it, Ultra Street Fighter 2 line. They completed this line and are positioned to complete this line pretty quickly. And on top of that, do things like this, right? Give us exclusive colorways, player 2 variants. I love that they're sort of embedding in some alt heads for the original figure if you had it.
That's a great touch. Really.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then you got the like much talked about awesome effects stuff that like no one else was really doing before. So, the property's in good hands. Now it's in multiple good hands between them and Storm Arena. But like this thing was really cool. I never ended up getting the regular Dulcium, and I was looking at this, and then I just got so busy with traveling. But it's cool. It's cool.
Really neat.
They've changed some of the articulation with Alpha line. I'm not sure what they've done though. I heard that in one of the streams. The Alpha, the 3 new ones that they're putting out.
Yep. Which brings us to them surprising everybody with the reveal of, hey, we're not just doing Ultra Street Fighter 2, but we're also doing Alpha, especially, because again, if you've been following this stuff, Storm Arena came out of seemingly nowhere with their Street Fighter Alpha stuff. And then now to reciprocate, Jada is coming out of nowhere again with their version. And then they trickled these out. They showed they showed Ryu first, and then Chun-Li. And it was sort of like this, I'm blanking on this dude's name.
I can't remember.
David?
Charlie Nash. Charlie Nash. I think I called him Dan the other day. That's the other dude in the gi. But But cool, because and I thought it was a really nice touch to show us 3 figures that are kind of different, show different body parts, I guess, right? So these 2 are similar size, but they've got unique legs and everything, and feet, and then they've got the Chun-Li. So I haven't heard too much about that, Brian, in terms of the what articulation changes might be, but I have heard sort of June talking about, as time goes on, they learn and they pick up new things and they figure out new ways, but I don't know exactly what has changed.
The
Yeah,
knees
I
look
don't.
very different.
The knees on the legs, that's right, on
Yeah.
Ryu for sure. But they look great.
But
And go ahead.
it's neat. It's neat that they're willing to change something that's already successful. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
They're really
100%.
adapting as they go. So
Absolutely. And I think it's particularly in this case, in this weird situation we've got with them and Storm Arena, where I think they have that extra push to want to make changes. But I will say, and we'll get to it in a little bit, and we saw it with Mega Man, they did the serial mascots, the first round of them, right? First 2 rounds of them. And then they did Street Fighter and, of course, Universal Monsters before then. And these are not similar figures. Mega Man is a very different body, right? So
yeah.
I don't think June and company are like averse to exploring and figuring stuff out, which I think is incredibly cool. And they're like a lot of the indies in that way, and that they're starting out, but of course they have the benefit of hindsight of being able to look at what all has come and what all is out there, and then do their own thing. So, and they're a lot more flexible than some of those companies. So I think that's what we're seeing.
The anime style is really cool.
Absolutely. The anime style is fantastic. They really capture the look of the alpha figures.
They do kind of share a similar aesthetic, though. Like they're all different figures, but
yes,
it's in terms of like, I don't know, the arts, and the art style is representative of the brand, but you can just sort of if you put a whole bunch of Jada figures together, you can tell that they're all Jada figures, despite them being different brands.
Yeah, they're different brands, but also the brands that they've chosen tend to be more on the illustrated, cartoony side of things as well, right? So like even though Street Fighter, they very much have, like, it's not super photorealistic. There's a look to it, and they lean into that. And it's not even like a exaggerated photorealistic look. It's it's clearly like animation illustration. This was a new reveal. And he's looking great. Akuma, he's a little smaller than I for some reason had in my head, but it's accurate. I guess I just got stuck in this notion that he's larger than life, but yeah, definitely to your point, a lot of their IP that they've chosen thus far has leaned into that sort of sculpting art style, right? Very illustrated, dynamic looking that way. Was there anything else from Jada that I'm missing? What I feel like
Scooby-Doo.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Duh.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's bring on the Hanna Barbera goodness. There was a couple of things, right? Whether Scooby-Doo or some more serial mascots. We had I'll skip these guys for now and come back to them. First off, here, I know you're looking at Frosty. Who was it? Was that you, Brian?
Yeah, I really like Frosty. He's going to be in my Christmas shots, I would say.
Yeah. Big Rankin Bass specials on, at least back in the day, on CBS. Cool stuff. This looks great for sure. I don't know that it was changed much from when they showed it in May, but it's looking good. What about you guys? Which of Scooby-Doo and the Flintstones, are those things that interest you?
Go ahead,
Ryan.
I'm Canadian. I'm going to defer.
I don't know. I mean, the Scooby-Doo ones are really cool. I like the monsters that they come out with so far, and the articulation's pretty cool. Other than that, I mean, they'll work well with some of the other stuff I collect. So I don't know. It's hard for me to pull a trigger on a new line when I have so much stuff. And I can appreciate what they're doing, though. They're really cool, though. And somebody's gonna be picking up and keeping that line moving, because there's a buttload of people out there who love Scooby-Doo.
Absolutely. I just the trick is going to be to make sure that people know that it exists. There are other YouTube people that I watch that are like either theme parks or other stuff that were at SDCC, and they're coming across Jada stuff. I'm like, what? There's Scooby-Doo figures? Like, literally, we're so stuck in this toy bubble of ours that there's a bunch more people out there who have zero idea about what's been happening in toys lately or that Jada exists. So that's going to be the trick, is making sure those folks hear it. Yeah, these are looking great.
For me, I can't commit to this line entirely, but I do have a lot of nostalgic pull towards Scooby-Doo. It was a big part of, it was one of the cartoons I definitely watched as a kid. So I have a rule sometimes that if something's in front of me, I'll get it. Which I know there's always a lot of things in front of me, but sometimes I'm like, I can't commit to pre-ordering this, but if it's in front of me,
sure,
then I will probably have to take it. So if the Scooby Gang are in front of me, I might go through the Scooby Gang members, but I don't know if I can commit to 2 villains in each wave.
Yep. I know that exactly with the Street Fighters. That's how I got Fei Long and Chun-Li. Is like, oh, they actually showed up in my local stores. Okay, great. And then I was at WonderCon. I was like, oh, we can buy Sagat here? Sure. But yeah, no, I think these are definitely not something that I would personally pick up. But this is what this show's about, really. I just want to look at stuff and appreciate it. Maybe even learn from like how they're approaching articulation and the sculpts. Even the displays or dials are always really cool, kind of on brand. But I'm not looking to buy at all. So buying it is not the end all be all of the hobby, in my opinion. But I do think it's interesting to see sort of how they handled Scooby's articulation.
Yeah, for sure.
It looks like he can move, and if only, and I wouldn't put it past them, but I could see them doing like a smoke effect for both of them, like when they're kind of running but standing in place at first, like some way to special legs or something. And then, anyways,
and I want to see how.
Go ahead.
I want to see how well Shaggy can carry Scooby, like when Scooby leaps into his arms.
Have they revealed the unmasked head of this guy yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Because they all have that, which is really cool. And that was cool to see this. And I think it's brilliant. Brilliant.
You can go back and watch the cartoons. And
yeah.
Get your.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right. Let's see. We hit those?
I like
what
the
about
background pieces too?
They're good, right?
Yeah.
It's very Scooby. And they do that with, as we'll see in a little bit, with their other properties too, with Cyberpunk. But first, since we're on the sort of Hanna Barbera tip, they found a fun way to release some Hanna Barbera figures by saying, "Hey, well, we've got the cereal license, and Fruity Pebbles, there was a cereal, so particularly through posts. So here's Fred and here's Barney. What are you guys thinking? Is this hitting you to the point where you're like considering buying?" Or maybe your wives and spouses and girlfriends or boyfriends are like,
I mean, my girlfriend wanted the Count Chocula one, but we haven't went searching for them for the cereal monster ones. But these guys are pretty cool. I don't know if she's into the Flintstones that much, but I think they're pretty neat though.
Yeah, I don't know what resonates with folks anymore, but for me as a kid, these guys were everywhere. Not necessarily feeling the need to get them again in a different world, maybe, but they're so obviously cartoony and animated. Even though I've got love for them, not something I need. The Fruity Pebbles, though.
Yeah, look at the detail in that. Somebody was pointing that out that was there. I was like, it looks pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, they do not hold back. They're just, they go. For me, as far as Jada, the stuff that I was really, really looking at was Cyberpunk. And I still haven't pulled the trigger on the first two. In particular, I was going to look at David, but I've stayed away. And, they're also a higher price point. And, as folks know, the toys that I buy it creeps into closer to being more along those lines. And I've, for a bunch of different reasons, just kind of never circled back for him. But I've been curious about how they're going to approach her, because, you know, I do have the sort of third party sort of take on this character, Jessica the Gun Girl. And then this guy was a new show. I love their big beefy characters. And then they all look really great. I mean, the sculpts are great. The soft goods on these are impeccable. That, like, it's really great. And by the way, him underneath those soft goods looks great too. Like all the added details of his cybernetics and stuff. So, you know, Jada's not messing around. But the one that got me especially was Atom Smasher. Where's he at? Let me scroll down past a bunch of stuff. Here he is. By the way, this dio is fantastic. That's all Mario 796, who was on the show a couple weeks back. He did this a while back for the Cyberpunk thing. He's super talented, as so many people who come on and guest on the Brick Something News are. But this guy, Atom Smasher, big villain, looks great. I just learned that he's not only in the anime, but he's also in the game. I only know the Cyberpunk world through Edge Runners, the anime that's actually on Netflix. But cool, huge mech. So I'm really interested into. I'm interested in how Jada approached this guy, like how he's going to move at the shoulders. I'm looking at the elbows, look good. How, you know, if this stuff is going to kind of get in the way, and so just that kind of stuff. This is definitely one that I'm actually going to seek out. So all that stuff is really cool. What do y'all think? Is Cyberpunk at all hit on anybody's radar here or no?
I started playing the game a while back, but haven't gotten through it. So I'm not really all that far, but I've liked what I played so far of it. And yet have yet to watch the anime because I work so much.
I am actually unclear how related they are. They're in the same world. Spoiler alert. This guy appears in both, but they are definitely seemingly like of their own.
I mean, I like the designs. I think they're really cool. Definitely not something in my wheelhouse. If I was probably more into it, I'd probably pick it up.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything about price points. I don't know if you or anybody in the chat knows how much the bigger guys are going to cost, knowing that David was about 50. So I'm not sure.
Well,
I mean, yeah,
the big guy don't have cloth goods, so maybe he'll be 50.
True. And, you know, they can always kind of move things around the line and, you know, as far as cost goes. But anyway, I think it's really cool to see that update. And of course, you know, you can kind of see it creeping out in the bottom. I haven't read nor watched Invincible, so it's not something I'm super familiar with. But I'll just say I think it's cool that they're continuing to expand with different lines and different IP. And that dio is freaking epic. I don't know who did it, but that's fantastic. Are anybody here into Invincible?
I haven't been in a while. I did read the books. I worked at a comic book store for about 15 years before my current job. So I was reading the Invincible books as they came out. They were great. Bloody as all hell. I haven't gotten into the show yet. And I think that's really where a lot of people's consciousness is with Invincible right now.
Yep.
So these, I don't have a pull for them.
Yep.
You know, maybe if we get the like original Invincible costume, like the one he has at the beginning of the series, and then eventually he moves to this, and then he goes back to the original look. Maybe I might check that out. This Conquest does look really cool. So these aren't for me yet, but I might grab, you know, something, you know, maybe him and Adam Eve, because I'm sure they'll get to them. I wonder if they went with this as a lineup because Diamond Select just did most of the, I would say, core characters like not that long ago. So people already have those.
And Diamonds were based on the comic, though. Is that right?
Yes, but I mean, they're basically the same. The cartoon is stylistically,
right? Visually, they're different art style.
Yeah. Well, they're pretty. I would say they're pretty close between animation and the comic.
Okay. I've just seen some of the comic art for like this guy's face, and this definitely seems a little bit more in the simplified kind of,
Yeah.
like, you know, like the lines in the hair, kind of what folks were addressing earlier, that they do seem to have almost a developing house Jada style that, you know, alludes to line and shape and stuff, but but they're cool. I'm really like, I'm happy for Jada and I'm happy for Invincible fans. I know that this show is super popular, so I hope that translates to exposure and sales for Jada, because they're clearly doing good work. They're trying to do good things artistically, like, you know, as Brian pointed out, they're not like resting on their laurels. They're always like improving. They're, you know, willing to do multiple bucks on a wave. Like, this is the wave one of that, and they've got a couple different things going. Same with Street Fighter, so it's bold and it's so far paying off for Jada. So all right, let's go ahead and move away from Jada. But before we do that, let's check in quickly with the chat. I probably won't hit everyone today, but let's just sort of see what folks are saying. Good to know Rob wasn't there, but he's sending other people to do his dirty work. Let's see. Chaos to the Fly. I have not seen that name, but so thank you for watching. Your Godzilla RC is from Jada, if I remember correctly. Likely that's like kind of their wheelhouse, right?
Yeah, Chaos is my girlfriend.
There you go.
So yeah, we just picked that up today. Actually, that
Oh,
RC guy, I totally forgot about that. It was a Jada.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they were doing cars and vehicles for a while. Looks like we lost Brian, but he'll probably come back. Spaded One. I feel a Jada price increase coming. A bunch of new stuff they're showing. Had an updated joint scheme, more in line with imports. Ryu has toe joints too, so that's going to cost something. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's in the cards. I don't know if they're going to try and keep to that price or what. But there you go. He's back. But in terms of, you know, production and design and stuff, sometimes that can cost a lot. Sometimes not so much. It depends on what's going on with the molds, what they have space for, etc. But also, like, once a company's established, you know, we see Hasbro and them do it all the time. People always wonder, how do they keep those prices? It's scale and diversity, right? They can move money from one line to the other, so to speak, right? And kind of like spread the money around. So now that Jada's established a little bit more and clearly has been, you know, they seem to be either doing well or some investors are losing money. I don't know, but they just keep growing. So, and you know, I should move on, but the Street Fighter Alpha thing, there's a temptation for people to say, oh, look, they did Storm Arena, so they came right out. It's like, no, that actually logistically couldn't work. Those figures have been in development for a long time. I think it's just, I don't know, an interesting, you know, serendipity, I guess. But here we are.
How many of the Storm Alpha figures exist so far? Just like 2, right?
2, Ken and Ryu, and as far as like being in people's hands, and then even like the big shipment for Big Bad Toy Store sounds like it's been delayed, but through other channels, folks have those 2.
So in one show, Jada has already gone past Storm in terms of quantity.
In terms of showing stuff,
yeah.
But you know, I guess if we're just talking about showing stuff, hasn't Storm Arena shown a third? I want to say they have shown prototypes, because, you know, all these are prototypes. But essentially, yes, they've either revealed more. I don't know. We see what the companies want us to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So we don't totally know what's going on behind the scenes. Let's see. E's saying Jada has me on lock for Edge Runners, but Big Bad Workshop's various lines are very cool, and he wanted to let everyone know that he's not texting while driving. Good man.
Good.
Yeah, Ron wants Mega Man X figures. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, there's so much to pull from when it comes to Mega Man, and that's going to be awesome. Hey, what's going on, Dave? And holy crap, what's going on? Happy birthday. Thank you, Dave, for letting us know. Happy birthday to you, Rob. I hope it's a good one. Let's talk to the birthday boy. He's saying, I just got Blanca, Sagat, Vega this past week. Still on the hunt for Guile. Tell me what you think of those, especially Sagat and Vega. I love Sagat. Blanca, I decided to pass on. I think he's cool, but and I have it on good authority that Sagat does battle with AWOC very well. Because that's all I did at WonderCon. Pose those figures. Knees, elbows, and butterfly joints are quote unquote import style. Yeah, and I don't know if that's in reference to what Street Fighter Alpha 2 from Jada, or I don't know if that came up in the conversation. Let's see. We've got the great cereal battles of the Brick Something News. Fruity Pebbles greater than Cocoa Pebbles. Ron says, "Fight me."
Can't confirm.
He's telling me I need to get David. Yeah, no, I know, but $50, I can move around to other things. I'm just weird that way. Let's see. Update Up Nerd Podcast Network is saying Atom Smasher is a major character in the cyberpunk world, period. Yeah. See, I didn't play the game, but definitely huge. And that makes sense when I think about it. It seems like that makes absolute sense. I just didn't know until someone pointed that out to me the other day. Judge Dredd's, good to see you. That looks pretty cool. Probably Atom Smasher, and I agree. Yep, same world, same city. And this is me. So Judge Dredd channels me. Like, that looks pretty cool, but I have no idea what it is. That's me all the time. And
same.
Yeah, it's like, gimme. Okay, let's go ahead and keep moving. Oh, wait, before we do, I saw some new names. What's up? Rowdy Riles is here. Good to see you. And Dave's Dimension, as well as Chris Bouchard. We will get to the MOTU stuff for sure towards the end, heads up. But I can't wait for them either, personally. Masterverse. That's my jam. Okay. My kids are watching Andor. Hopefully you guys can't hear too much of that. It's really loud next door. Let's go ahead and move on to some indies. And Jada's pretty much a an upstart. They've been in the toy game for a while, but I'm talking about like people taking on investors or putting in their money and starting a whole new thing like Big Bad Workshop. If folks aren't familiar, Big Bad Workshop is the folks from Big Bad Toy Store, which I just think is fascinating because I think they are in such a unique position to be providing toys that other people simply won't, because they can make things and, of course they got to worry about selling and everything, but they know they've got a retail base. They know they've got a place by which people can find out about it and, buy it from them. And they don't do it just for themselves. I got to say, like, the Big Bad folks have been great about supporting all sorts of indie toys, right? AWOC, Cursed Dead, Brutal Realm, all of them really benefited from Big Bad helping with the Kickstarter campaigns, etc. So, but this is them doing their own toys. Famously, not too long ago, they revealed that they had the Cops and Crooks line. And so we saw a little bit more of that. But what was most interesting to me was to continually see Operation Monster Force expand and their brand new stuff. Brian, Endless Fables. I know you in particular wanted to talk some Big Bad Workshop. What was exciting you about what you saw at SDCC, coming out of SDCC?
Surprisingly, it is. I had to write it down because I can't remember the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
The non-playable characters.
Yeah, NPCs. Yeah. Are you familiar with that phrase at all, Brian? No. A legit question, because I'm not a big gamer these days, but does the phrase NPC mean anything to you or beyond these toys?
Not really.
Yeah, because that's fine.
I'm not a bit. To be honest, I'm not a big gamer, so
yeah,
I love Street Fighter figures, but for me to go play Street Fighter, I played it a few times.
Only because it is. So the name comes from the idea of an NPC in a video game, right? A non-playable characters, the folks that run around in the background or that you talk to on the side mission. Yeah, it's like extras in a movie or whatever. But they're important, and I love the idea of that being used as a name for an entire line that's like this. So what is it about this that caught your attention?
Well, every toy show that I go to, any of the independent toy companies, I walk up and ask, "Can we get some background characters?"
Yeah, there you go. Yep,
So-
exactly.
So this is some of those background characters.
Yep.
But if you look at if you go over a little more at their feet, there's some head sculpts there.
Yeah.
So
These are the main ones for this guy. This is the exorcist priest who comes with like a different demons possessing him and different faces. This is your the power of, what is it? Power of Christ compels you. Face maybe. But yeah, so what is it about those faces? Are you just same here, right?
Look below the soldier there.
These?
No, the next one.
Oh, the next ones.
Well, right there's one of them. I think it's a kangaroo head.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah, well, there's a kangaroo head, and I think there's also an ape head there somewhere.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So anyway, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. I always have fun.
So many head packs.
So much fodder for the collabs, right? The AWOC photo collabs. No, but
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. Like these are mob bosses and sort of like enforcers or whatever, bank robbers, I think is what it says behind here. But yeah, these are like the masks, the disguises that they would wear, and I think that's incredibly cool. I don't know. I'm assuming that Arlen worked on these, and I know there's other folks who did, but whoever is working on their stuff, they like, we're talking about Jada, have developed sort of a house style that's very Big Bad Workshop / Fresh Monkey Fiction. And I like it because it's actually a kind of style that blends well with, your Joe Classifieds, Action Force kind of thing. I'd say even more so than even Marvel Legends, right? It definitely feels like more on the classified end of things. But it feels, generic enough for Bobby's World.
Yeah, I got that
to just work across lines. And of course they've got beyond that, you can kind of see how they just slots right into their own stuff. So this is their 112 Eagle Force stuff, which is one of those weird lines that is oddly nostalgic for me because I remember going to Pick and Save, which I think became Big Lots. And we got the little guys for super cheap because my uncle worked there too. So it was like discount upon discount. And then they've got stuff like this. Yeah. Is this Raven Society? I haven't fully gotten the news. Is this tying in at all to Monster Force in terms of the lore? Like,
I don't think they've went that far into it. It's more, I think it's going to be more of an independent thing from that, but
they have in the past said like the world of, and they have tried to like do this sort of like MCU style. It's all connected kind of thing between Eagle Force and that. So I just wondered, but remains to be.
It does look like it. You could easily squeeze it in there. So we haven't gotten the full story on Monster Force either. So
yeah,
and I love that Chatsworth, which we've seen that before now too. So.
Yeah, man, big old Sasquatch channel and Bruce Springsteen loves donuts. It's cool stuff for sure. It's really, really cool, and it's come a long way because I was excited about this when it was initially revealed because it was meant to be like a collab using the Memory Toys buck. So just the idea of companies getting together and then they're working with Gridiron to do the weapons. I think that stuff is super exciting to see for the whole.
Which that sculpt is Arlen sculpted that one. So
yeah, this new body for Chatsworth.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's shout out a couple new folks who jumped in. Yo, what's up? Curtis is also waiting for Cops from Big Bad Workshop. And he also loves the NPC name. And I'm assuming this is based on the sculpt.
It does kind of look like him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit like Mr. Pascal.
That dude's in everything.
I know. Even action figures now.
Hey, what's up, G? The time scales is here. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Yes, cheers from San Francisco, which is where I'm from as well. South San Francisco. What about you guys? Larry, Ryan, anything about Monster Force or any of these other big bad figures?
I mean, I think the Monster Force ones are really neat. I've been chomping at trying to get a couple just to go with my small G.I. Joe classified line.
Yeah,
and I may have to get that Edgar Allan Poe figure for my girlfriend because she's big into the gothic stuff. She's a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe and all that stuff. So we got like a few NECA Elvira figures and stuff up there.
Oh, perfect.
That's her side of the bed back there. So I try to get her all that kind of stuff if I can find it.
Yeah, you can get their version of Dracula. You can get Edgar Allan Poe and do that. They're very, even though they have a specific lore and a specific world, they're actually very adaptable to other things. So it's kind of cool.
They also have a ton of weapons, accessories that come with them. So
yeah, these figures do come stocked. I'm intrigued by this. I think I've talked about it with somebody else on this channel before, but just like the idea that we're getting, they do this a lot, right? Where they kind of create characters that could work as other characters that you may know. So this one being Hanna Barbera's Dr. Quest, father to Johnny Quest.
Oh
yeah,
I see that.
You know, this one I've shown this before, but very. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name from. I keep saying this. Sorry, I know he's done other movies, but not Billy Madison. No, it's
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers, thank you.
Okay.
And it wasn't Billy Madison. What was it? Happy Gilmore.
Yeah,
I said that the other day. It's like of all his films to name check. His great work on Happy Gilmore. Of course, you got like the classic G.I. Joe heads, and you've got a General Ross type character. Yeah. We could all use a little more Cthulhu in our lives, some zombie Cobra, if you will. It's all really cool. But for me, what most excited me from Big Bad Workshop, well, both excited and I got to admit, maybe less so. I usually try to be positive, but this is one of my favorite comic book characters ever, Grendel, Hunter Rose. But I guess I was hoping that they would do not the fully formal, power broker kind of Hunter Rose or criminal Hunter Rose. I was hoping the full on, like you see here in the background. That is coming from Loose Collector, but I guess I was a little bit surprised by that. And the head is maybe a little bit more a different look. Again, they've got their house style, so good on them for trying to keep it in their house style. That head sculpt is very Fresh Monkey Fiction, Big Bad Workshop, but not quite what I'm maybe used to for the character. Same goes for Mike Allred's Madman. Love that we're getting these characters made. I'm just personally not necessarily into the style that's being applied, but he's a lot more roided out, yoked than I ever imagined. This guy you can kind of see in the back. He's kind of
yeah. Madman and kind of Mike Allred in general is a very hard art style to translate into 3D.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to just commit to doing his art style across the line or whatever you're doing.
Yeah,
but
I really dig
that they exist. Go for it.
I was saying I really dig the Rocketeer from the Longback Sears line. I love the Rocketeer, the movie. So this might be a get for me. I think there's another one that's already up on which comes with the dog slug. The NPC line I thought was one of the things that jumped out to me from Big Bad Workshop, because there is a stunning lack of generic characters that are out there I'm thinking from a toy photography perspective. You're basically kind of grabbing the Marvel Legends MCU characters that they've done in regular clothes, suit bodies, that sort of thing. So to see stuff like an exorcist priest, where you can just get a few of these, and they can just be in a church setting, or they could be expelling a demon. I like this one's kind of the way he's posed, just like, hey now, Look at this. And go.
Yep.
He's very relaxed. The SWAT officer is cool. It'll be interesting to see if that makes its way out before the Hasbro one does, because they kind of pulled back on that one after events, let's say. And the bank robbers and mob boss, like those are great. Like it kind of reminds me of like okay, if I make a Simpsons reference, who's going to get this?
I probably will, depending on what year.
What have I done to deserve this flat,
sure.
flavorless Manhattan?
Yeah. But in real life, in the real life fresh monkey fiction aesthetic, yeah. There's so much you can do. You can do, these guys can be behind your Joker from The Dark Knight, right? Is that what it's called?
Exactly.
Yeah, The Dark Knight. You can do all sorts of stuff. I'm surprised they didn't actually give them clown masks, but it's cool stuff. I think it's really exciting too, and I agree with you. The NPC ultimately was the most like I don't know what's the word, substantial or like impactful announcement, because it is so different, so new. I heard someone give like Shartimus like a backhanded another swipe. They were like, look, they did what Shartimus couldn't. I was like, look, they gave us street humans. Like, I will say this, and it kind of started with this. What's that?
I don't think that's accurate, but yeah, okay.
Well, no, I think but that's what they're just trying to say, that they gave us like non, super characters or whatever, like background characters. But the thing is, it goes to what I was saying about Big Bad. Big Bad's in a position to do something like this, and this is they're doing this after establishing Monster Force and some other things, and so I don't know. I think there's a bunch of different reasons why the Street Humans thing didn't take off, but I don't think it's a bad idea. I just think certain people like Big Bad Workshop are in a much better position to get it done. And, worst comes to worst, they sit on their stock in their, their store. But I don't know. That said, Big Bad, it's nice to see sort of a newcomer jumping in. I'll shout this out too. This is that Monster Force character based on Gridiron. I'm forgetting the name of the guy who runs Gridiron, but his actual name is Commander Gridiron. He's basically like the Destro of this world.
It's actually a line that they're working with Gridiron to do. So there's like 4 figures, I think, or something like that. So this is
it's a part of Monster Force, right?
I don't think it is. But
initially, he's basically posed as the guy who provides the weapons, and maybe they'll spin him off into his own line, which is kind of cool. But
which they're spinning everything together too. So, but they're specifically working on that row, I think, for Gridiron. Or
okay, so that'll be these guys.
I think so.
Okay. That's cool. So it's going to be its whole sort of own little world within the Big Bad world of Monster Force, I think is what they call them.
And also on the long box heroes, some of those characters, they're going to do a whole line of figures to work with it. I know they mentioned the Rocketeer actually has 6 figures.
Yep.
So they're going to give you other characters in that line, which is amazing. I never thought I'd see that. So,
yeah, that is really cool. And hopefully they'll give me a different Grendel, but we should move on. But these are pretty amazing. And shout out to Big Bad Workshop for they're doing it. And hopefully they get more figures in people's hands and they can move in production on these. But let's move over to a company that another indie called Hasbro.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, apparently they made a big showing. I mean, they're coming in with these big dials. They it's actually written by Destro himself. Killer dials all the time, killer displays from the Hasbro team, the Marvel Legends team. I'm just going to do a quick scroll so you can get a sense of there's so much coming out of Hasbro Legends that we could spend so much time talking on. But really, at the end of the day, like this one, God, I got to go hurry up and figure that out. But at the end of the day, there was one figure that I know in this group and for me caught a lot of attention. And that came in the form of Mephisto. And so these are the Toy Arc posted up the Hasbro's like official photos of all the figures that were going to be pre-ordered and that were revealed in SDCC. But I'll get to the Mephisto. I know a couple of you were interested in this Mephisto. What do you think it is about this figure that stands out?
We Marvel guys have wanted this
There you
forever. Like you can tell why they've been hesitant to put it out. Because it is a devil character. It's not really something you can put on shelves, so they had to find the right avenue. They thought they had that with the Engine of Vengeance HasLab, which failed, which was the only HasLab I've ever tried to back. So,
so what you're saying is you're the problem. You jinxed it.
No, I helped it. I did my part.
Okay.
This is excellent. Like, that's my Up Nerd podcast is my buddy Ryan. So
nice. I'm just gonna show some of these, for the video. What you were saying?
I say this Mephisto. We wanted something like this for a long time, and for the longest time, the only option was the Diamond Select, and it came and went. It was unavailable. It's like if you want it in box, it's like $200 through secondary market. So to finally get this is great, and I think this is a really good offering. It's basically the same figure as what was shown with the HasLab. They did do some improvements to the articulation in the shoulders. They added butterfly joints, which is great because he's coming with that giant sword, and he can actually hold the sword in both hands. It's been in a bunch of their promo pictures. I think before I get this throne. Okay, the Throne of Lies. This is amazing.
You sit upon a throne of lies. Yes.
This is so cool. Like, if you're a Mythic Legions collector, how do you not try to get this as well and do photography with this? This is insanely cool.
Yeah.
My only gripe is that it looks cooler from the back.
Yes,
that's what I
know.
You need a spinner for that. So everybody needs to buy a spinner so you can set it up there and spin it around.
Just turn it on.
And granted, it's not that it's based on comic art, but also like from the front, it's cool looking. It doesn't have that big featured skull, but also presumably it's going to be like this with the figure being highlighted. But I could see a world where you kind of just use it as like, this side and you got someone standing over it and standing next to it. It's cool.
It's cool. That's for sure.
And also beyond what you were saying, it's unlike the one from Engines of Vengeance. It's not a standard figure. It's actually more than 7.5 inches tall. 7.6 inches tall. With all the articulation changes you said, there's some sculptural changes if you take a look at both of them as well. And of course this throne, but I fully agree with you. It's such a great offering. Other folks here looking to get Mephisto? Look at that.
I may try to find it and get it. I don't know where I put it.
Well, on that note, just if folks didn't know, this is actually one of those where they're like Dragon Man. It's a timed direct pre-order. So, just as long as you get your order in before then, you can get it. But after that, it's going to be that much harder. So keep that in mind.
Right. I almost forgot about that part.
The good thing is that it doesn't charge until next year. So
when it
put it
ships.
in now, when it ships. So I think that's been a very good model for the Marvel team, since if you look at the HasLabs, the only ones that were successful were the giant dudes, right? Like the Sentinel, the Galactus, the Giant Man. Yeah. And the Engine of Vengeance failed, unfortunately, which sucks. So they really wanted that, but looks like Ram and Toys did really well with their offering. But once the vehicle option kind of went away, they're not left with much that they can put into a HasLab, because you're basically there's no more big characters that would justify a HasLab. Atlas or Goliath, like those aren't gonna bring in the numbers. So
Sure.
moving to this method, you can do large-ish that aren't like massive, 3 foot tall figures.
Yep.
Give them their own packaging, do them direct to order, and everybody wins.
There's still Fin Fang Foom they need to redo for folks. I know that's a hot ticket item. Yeah. There's a bunch of those, there are still big ones, but I totally hear you. And I also think the move to this with Dragon Man, when I saw that, I was like, oh, completely smart. First off, it seems like eventually they're gonna dry up the well for HasLabs for a couple of different reasons, just even burnout, space, all of those things. So just finding a different way to get people to like commit to buying something ahead of time. It's the same thing, just, same but different. And so I think it's super smart. I think it also, But anyway, that aside, I think this figure is rad. Anybody else? Are you thinking about it at all, Brian?
I am. And I don't know if it's because it's the figure or the chair. It's probably a combination of both. I mean, I grew up on Marvel Comics, and so I mean, it's a piece that I've wanted for a while. So it's on my list. So
I need a certain Ilyana. I need a Sim.
Belasco.
Man. Yeah, Belasco. But yes, this is great. And a lot of this is also because I saw an interview, I forget whose interview it was, with the Marvel team, and they were saying, people wondered like why didn't you say you couldn't do Mephisto, and why are you doing this now? And as they pointed out, obviously it's still not in stores, so we don't have to worry about certain folks being upset about it, retailers included. But also, like, Mephisto's back. Sorry. If you haven't been paying attention to the MCU and you didn't know that, I'm sorry. but yeah, things have shifted. And so there's a bunch of reasons why this is happening. And I totally get it. And I think it's smart on a number of levels to release this guy now. And I think he looks really good. If I'm sitting here and doing the nitpick thing, the waists, their waists, they need to figure it out. I just look at ball jointed waists. That would be great.
Yeah.
But shout out for doing both the soft goods and the plastic cape.
Yes.
Because, if we want them in this thing. Yeah.
And the soft good cape, actually, I think it has a plastic upper part. So like it clips around, and that part is plastic. So you still get that nice form.
A nice
and then
color.
The rest, and then the rest you can actually like have him seated, which it's great.
Yep.
And look at that pose. Like, there's so many figures we can't get to hold a sword in two hands.
Yeah, this one's crossed too. Look at him.
Yeah.
He's like,
That's cool.
It's really great. Yeah, no, easy buy, and that's something that I'll have to make sure I can pay for next year. But he looks really great. There you go. This is exactly what I was thinking about. I hadn't seen this picture till now. But yeah, you turn it around and you have him posing over it, and boom. It's
Really
cool.
I'm already thinking of like a shoot with this and like a Doom and Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah.
Very nice. Spoiler alert, it's not actually Mephisto, it's Morph. Yeah, like I said, there's so much that we're not going to be able to get to talk about with Marvel Legends, but let's go ahead and shift over to Mezco, who's no stranger to Marvel and other comic book properties. And man, they're just like, check out what we're doing with Turtles. You people loved our original style. I'm trying to remember what is. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Whatever the first comic was published on, the original comics.
IDW?
Even before
Mirage,
that. Mirage, thank you.
Yeah.
Mirage Studios, when they started with those, and then now they're like, oh no, we can do movie ones too. So they showed Turtles. I'm sure people have no idea that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles always exist. But let me just say that they do, and Mezco's doing more. Did anybody have anything to say about those Turtles? Otherwise, I'm happy to move past them just because of time.
I have thoughts, but
Go for it.
Oh, no, I might be a wet blanket. So, but I do have thoughts to say. But
Wet blankets are fine.
Okay. I don't really know why these exist. It's because
one could say the same about a lot of turtle things.
Yes,
I guess.
True. But like Mezco, they brought out their first offerings, and people were like, "Mezco's going to do turtles." Okay, well, everybody's doing turtles, and then they did their own thing, and people really liked it. They were great. They had their kind of own distinct style.
Yep.
And that's kind of what Mezco does. Like they take their licenses, their DCs, their Marvels, their GI Joes, whatever, and you get a Mezcoified version of that.
Right.
These, I don't see how, and maybe we need to see the entire solicitation pictures when they get offered. I don't see a lot of differences between these and the NECA.
Right.
And NECA set a very high benchmark with those movie turtles. And they're not that hard to get. And they're going to be even easier because at this show, they announced they're re-releasing the original movie Turtles with a lot of the accessories from the movie accessory pack that they did. So NECA keeps putting out movie Turtles as an offering. So I'm not sure why Mezco thought, well, we need to do that too. And because I imagine these are going to be a lot more expensive because they're Mezco.
Yep. There was a time when it was indie comic.
I'll tell you the number one thing that these do that the NECA ones don't do. They're going to give you 4 or 5 head sculpts on each one of these. So
this is true.
Yeah,
and that makes an impact. So anyway.
And probably even more stuff, right? Little accessories and little things to lose. But I will also just say that, like not everybody, I hear you on sort of like, oh, why get this when I can go get the NECA ones? There are folks who I know just collect Mezcos. And are really into their form factor, the big metal tin and like the whole nine, right? And so I could see just on Mezco's audience alone and with the numbers that they tend to produce, they're going to have no problem selling these.
Oh yeah,
I think at the end of it, if it was like a NECA going the other way and these already existed, that's when I'd be a little bit worried, I guess, because they produce in quantities that are like super high. But then again, I think they'd reach a market that's much more broad. They'd get, kind of like the folks who used to go into your Suncoasts maybe, and like see stuff randomly, like, oh, there's turtle stuff, I'm gonna buy it. So I think I see less of those people being like, oh, there's some turtle stuff. Wait, $400? No, I'm good. So it's just like different markets. And if they didn't feel like they could sell them, they wouldn't make them.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like Mezco has a very dedicated customer base.
Totally.
And I'm not trying to knock them at all. Sounds like I'm shitting on them, but I'm really
not.
No.
And
it's
I
just
didn't mean to wet blanket
puzzling.
your wet blanket.
Yeah, because it is. I just see it as a. And like I said, maybe the entire solicitations need to come out for me to understand why. Yeah. Because I'm not seeing what's extra about.
Totally.
This.
I think for sure, like there's also this tendency we operate from our own filters, right? It's like, this is not something I would buy. I would go NECA. And it's just, there are all sorts of collectors out there. And then there's always this, vibe that Ronald's throwing out there. Why not both? ¿Por qué no les dos? And and I know he's a big Mezco guy too. So maybe some people like, there's Jay Shot, who is like inundated in turtles, more turtles than he ever thought he would own. He's getting fed. He's getting stuffed. He's getting tortured is what it is. But Beetlejuice, were folks like big on the Beetlejuice things?
Yes.
Yeah. This is your
large. Yeah, I'm a very big Beetlejuice fan.
Does this feel like a definitive one to you compared to some of the other offerings?
I have a couple of the NECA. I have the very first NECA release. From what I've seen of this Mezco, it's great. I can't afford that price.
Sure.
I don't know how average humans can, but that's me. I think this is really, really cool. It's fantastic. The accessories it comes with are great. like it comes with the whole carnival merry-go-round head. If that's the same one, but like the first deluxe one had the whole merry-go-round head and the big giant balloon arms. And it comes with a grave and like tons of offerings. Like if you're going to get one Beetlejuice thing and you want all of the stuff, this would be the one to get.
And also, here's where, like, for me, Mezco shines is the soft goods, the way they're able to pull these things off. Every time it's like, wow, look at that. Yeah. And then, obviously you don't have that when you're dealing with these guys with the turtles in the same way. So the point stands there. Yeah.
I keep holding out hope for a Mezco Rocketeer.
Oh,
that's like,
that would
if
be cool.
Mezco does a Rocketeer, I'm definitely getting that. That would be my first Mezco, because I could definitely see them nailing the soft good leather jacket. And the pants.
The jetpack would have all sorts of extra little panels that come out and open up, and
for sure,
screwdriver. They've got Sin City here. They've got the Conans that we've seen, and they're looking great. And then a bunch of DC stuff. I know someone here was interested in looking at some DC Mezcos. There it is.
Yeah.
Which ones are these?
The new Superman one from the new film looks awesome. I'm actually really in love with this movie.
So
I've seen it twice already.
I saw it last week. It was great.
Yeah. I want to go see it again. Don't know when I'm gonna do it, but this looks amazing. I got the McFarlane multiverse ones, like the one with the cape, wired cape, and Crypto. I think I want to pick him up as soon as he goes up and get them, because it looks like Crypto's also articulated on this one too, opposed to the McFarlane one. So it just looks amazing, and I'm super stoked that this is coming out.
It's so funny. Was it the McFarlane one that everyone said he looked like Shooter McGavin?
No, I think it's SH Figure Arts one.
Okay, it was SH, because it's funny. You see, I still see it here. Like he can't escape it. I don't know what it is about this actor's face that like skews so much towards, but I still see it there towards Shooter. But whatever. That said, it's amazing looking. I think it's a great representation of the character and all the things that you said, for sure. Great movie too. I agree. If I could, I'd see it again, but I think I'm going to opt to see FF again. Fantastic Four. But all of these stuff.
Red Hood looks amazing.
He looks great. And this is after my time sort of really paying attention. I went back and read this arc, or this story, Hush, and it's good stuff. And I think he looks really good in this form. Look at that jacket.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Zipper. Killer. But yeah, Mezco's doing great stuff. You get your Batman stuff. This is the one that I think for a lot of my circles, and including myself, was just sort of intrigued by. I was really waiting to see what a Hulk would look like. I know folks are really excited about this and are really liking it. I'm a little bit thrown by the level of detail on the body. Seems like to me like hyper detailed in a way that doesn't totally wrap my in terms of like the Thor figure, or even the Nightcrawler figure that they showed. It just seems a little veins. Veins and texture. A lot of us were looking at the little pockmarks of those Playmates turtles, and you can kind of see, but it looks good. It's totally just a weird texture thing for me, and a little bit about like, see, look at this guy over here. There's a simplification in forms. So I was just, it threw me off a little bit in terms of like, oh.
You know what this really reminds me of, though?
What's that?
Toy Biz Marvel Legends Series 1.
It does. Yeah, it does.
Like just an improved version of that, because that one is like, he's big. He's got a lot of the same faces. He's veiny, and it's just a big hulking Hulk. Yeah.
I love the head sculpt.
Yeah.
Here. So this is me being art nerd guy. If you take a look at the hair, and yes, there are some strands there, but not every strand is represented. At a certain point, there's a level of abstraction, resolution that's not there. They're like, oh yeah, there's generally suggestions of hair, right? But then you get down here and you're like, every little pore and is detailed. So to me, there's even a mismatch within the figure in certain parts. And again, that's just nerdy me. But I think the head is amazing. I think it's fantastic. I mean, like all that detail that I'm talking about is incredibly rendered and looks great. It's just, and this does not look like a comfortable way of being supported, but he's the Hulk. But then, I think it's cool ultimately it is cool to put them all alongside and build your own little Marvel universe in Mezco. Yeah, good for you. I think they're great. Nightcrawler's dope. And then, of course, their own other stuff, but that's Mezco. Let's go ahead and move on to a little tiny indie again, who's really not the tiniest indie. If anything, it's the largest, most, the indie leading the way, and that's Four Horsemen. And I've talked a lot about the Horsemen here and all about their figures. They had their exclusive Paladin. That's sort of like the first run at something that will show up again in their Kickstarter next year for this role-playing game. So that was cool. That's new and exclusive. But to me, Four Horsemen being at San Diego Comic-Con is the big deal here. That's the big news item. The fact that they're exposed to folks who are used to seeing, Lego and My Little Pony and Masters of the Universe at San Diego Comic-Con, of course, Spider-Man, etc. But this like indie company who they don't realize probably designed a lot of those, McFarlane toys back in the day, or their He-Man toys, but they have their own toy line that started 10 years ago, now 11 years. And they've got beyond that now 4 or 5 different lines. And so they kind of had this nice couple of bookshelves that sort of showed their lines, whether it was Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, Figure Obscura. There's like a Ganesh in there. No Infinite Legions in here, but kind of just showed their wares. And then they also, if you're like a long-term fan who isn't new to the Horsemen, if you got to head out there or you were looking at this footage, you saw figures that a lot of us haven't seen yet, like the Ein Samal figures that are currently under pre-order, or I'm blanking on the name of this. Oh, the Rising Suns wave.
Yeah.
And this is also mixed in with, who are these guys again? With the Exiles, were they part of?
I want to say
Rising?
Ashes of Agmendor.
I don't think.
I don't know.
So yeah, they weren't Ashes.
I'm fairly new to the Horsemen, so
they might have been. They might. This whole line, actually, now that I think about it, they're all together. That's all. The wave I was just saying, and I'm blanking. Rising Suns. This is Ein Samal. You've got your Cosmic Legion Ox Crew 2 down here. You got some Cosmic Legions from older waves, some Mythic Legions from older waves, and Ganesha from Figure Obscura. And down here, we've got some of the, these are the Ashes of Agbender right here with Shui and Kaipacha and the Gold Knight. And then
Kaipacha just sounds like a soup.
Yeah, it does. Cold soup at that. But yes. That's all really. I mean, like, I don't know if folks had other thoughts on the Four Horsemen stuff, but that was my thing. It's just like, it's dope that they were there, and the SDCC crowd can now hopefully be exposed to and learn more about Four Horsemen.
Yeah, I'm still also new to them. I got like 4 figures on my shelf. The 2 of the both the heroic and the evil Green Knights. And I mean, I love posing those guys around, just fighting each other all the time. They're just amazing figures, and they're great, doing a great job. I can't wait for the Dragon still, and Leodicius, which was the first one I actually purchased, but haven't gotten yet.
Of course, so, that'll be a while, but that's great.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That one won me over just because I like lions, and so I'm super excited. I'm glad they're out there, just killing it. So
yeah, agreed. They even brought, like, I didn't realize they're going to bring their big old statues as well that they bring to Legions Con, which is like a hop, skip, and a jump from the studio, but to ship it out to San Diego, that orc went a long way. Oh, and these, of course.
I'm surprised they didn't show off the Baethir prototype there as well.
Yeah. I'm sure at a certain point it's about space too, because I know they were sharing a booth with folks. It's actually a really huge deal that they were there. It's not easy to get a booth at Comic-Con. It takes a while to kind of get into the system, and then when things open up. So I'm really happy that they're there because, there's so many of my nerdy friends who have zero idea that the Four Horsemen exists or that Mythic Legions exists. So this is cool. Cool.
Were you expecting like a San Diego surprise from them?
I wasn't. Venue, honestly, because I think the people who would benefit the most from that kind of thing would be their hardcore audience. And it's SDCC Four Horsemen Nerd is kind of its own unique brand of nerd. So I think there's definitely overlap, but I think this was more about how do we expand to brand new audiences, and to those audiences, all of this stuff is new. So, we've got Legions Con coming around the corner. Figure Obscura should be dropping soon. What's up, Brendan? Good to see you. Speaking of Legions. So yeah, I hear you, Rick. Good to see you. I just don't like this. How details are too deep or something. Yeah. See, look at you. You see an IMAX down in Santa Cruz or Santa Clara? All right. Well, that's the Horsemen. This is the point at which I wanted to talk, speaking of indie toys, because I really do think that the Four Horsemen are the gold standard, is what I often refer to them as. But let's start with some other, there's like obviously more indie toy companies these days, including one that I know myself and Brian are really supportive of, and that's the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom through Spiro Toys, as well as a couple of other people on this panel who I've had the opportunity to talk to and get to know. So left to right, this is the person who was sort of hosting. That's the Fist Toys out of Colombia. Then you've got Wade here from the Bay, not too far from Rick. Unparalleled Universe and his Odious line. Oh my goodness, I'm totally blanking on this guy's name, but he did the Fujitsu Zujitsu line. I got to speak with him at WonderCon. Great guy. The Zujitsu line were actually sculpted and produced by the Horsemen. So he did his thing. Then you've got this guy, I'm forgetting his name. No, I'm just kidding. That's Jason from Spiro Toys, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Then you've got Adam from The Cursed Dead, and David Vonner of Marvel Legends fame, Toy Biz fame, Hasbro, who now handles a lot of the production management for a lot of these guys and their projects overseas in China. So they had this indie panel that they put together. Thank you to Brian for finding this link. I haven't seen this yet. Brian, have you had a chance to look through it and watch the panel?
Yeah, I watched this panel.
Okay.
It's they're just talking about basically getting started into the indie toy lines and talking a little bit about the process and the products. So
yeah, my understanding is I heard someone say if you are at all interested in how toys are made or have an idea and want to maybe see someday as a toy, check out this panel. Take a lot of good notes and you'll get a sense of the process and what it's like for these folks. So they kind of talk through their lines, I'm assuming. How'd Jason do? How was Jason's internet connection? No, I'm just kidding.
It worked this time. I think this is the first stream he didn't glitch out on. So.
Nice. But they were able to talk about the line and stuff, and any big cool takeaways that people should look out for when they watch it.
They're talking about their experiences, their personal experiences more so than and including the process a little bit. So it's a good introduction to some of that. So
cool. And it looks like a good, Comic-Con panels in general, like vary in attendance. Obviously everyone wants to be in Hall H, which is the big, the big reveals, big movie stuff, George Lucas Museum, etc. So, but I'm looking at the size of this crowd and it's a good size. I mean, for this room, I've been in rooms this size before. And sometimes I was just in one in WonderCon and had like 8 people in a giant venue. So, there you go. Yeah, I'm going to definitely check this out. The link, just like everything else, will be in the QR code that's down there, and of course the banner that's popping up on the Chiron or whatever you call it. And I'll drop this one in the chat right now, because I haven't been doing that throughout the entire show. But hey, thank you very much. What's up, Trevor? 16 Shooter Pat is Zujitsu. Thank you. That would be Pat. Yeah, and Brendan's already ordered his stuff. Yeah, I got to do that as well. Okay. But this is cool, and I'm really happy to hear it. And this was not the only indie toy panel. There were several others. Flipor and that crew were doing it in a different panel. There was one called Indie Toy Panel that had folks like Super 7 on there. So, that's not necessarily who I think of at this stage in the game as sort of like the level of indies that I'm talking about. But it's true that Super 7 started off as, an indie company here in San Francisco. I remember seeing from the beginning. So E's saying it's a great exchange and conversation with a nice emphasis on community and interaction among these peers. Yeah, absolutely. Great. I'm not saying, yeah, I saw it, but yeah, of course it would be, because if you take a look at that panel again, and I already kind of hinted at it with Pat that he worked with the Four Horsemen, who are again, these indie toy legends. I don't know, what the right word is, but progenitors or something. And then David Vonner, same thing, man. He's coming from the Hasbro world, but he's a huge champion of the indie toys and is now working with smaller companies to get their ideas made. He wade through the process to get Odious done. He's working with Adam and Phil and the other folks to get their Cursed deadline going. He's had conversations, I know, with Jason as well, not necessarily in the same capacity, but so it's all about the community spirit. So I think that's beautiful when it comes to the indie thing. And before I go too far on that, can I just shout out Guy Gardner over here who showed up for the panel? Good on you, Guy. And this was from Figures Not Included. I definitely share the link. That's awesome. And I will drop the like. And that's a hint to you. If you're watching this right now, go ahead and drop hit that little finger thing. God, I can't talk anymore. So I'll stop talking. And why don't we move on to the next thing? And timing wise, are you guys good on time?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and we'll close it out then with, I know, the universe in the room. Let's jump to the Masters of the Universe. Big year for MOTU. And they've had a series of relatively big years. Last year famously was not so positive, as they had a little bit of the fan base in uproar about the reveal of the Snake Lair.
I think utter revolt was probably
yeah, fair enough. And so this year they came with surprises. Mattel, we'll start with Mattel and then we'll move over to Mondo. Mattel came with this that was up here at the top of that Toy Arc page, 2000X, which I think is hilarious because I was just talking so much about Four Horsemen. The original line that sort of relaunched Masters of the Universe in this century, right, in the 21st century, 2000X, was done by the Four Horsemen. They did those sculpts and worked on those designs, and now Mattel is going back to give us versions of those in essentially what's cartoon collection. I'm going to skip past a bunch of stuff and I'll come back to it. But these guys, since we're here, 2000X, I think this threw a lot of folks, a lot of MOTU fans, curveball, man. We were just whoa, cartoon collection for Filmation still sort of happening. You just licensed 2000X to Mondo. Who knew that Mattel was going to have the opportunity to actually do some 2000X themselves? Were you guys at all big 2000X guys? Is this surprising to you? Is something you're interested in?
Yeah, I remember when it first started airing on Cartoon Network back in the day, and I was working at McDonald's at the time too, so
nice.
I got all those. I had all those Happy Meal toys when they came out. But I loved the show. I didn't get too far into it before I kind of got into other stuff because it was my early 20s at that point in time.
Yep.
So, but these things look great. That Atom's pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best Atoms that I would say Mattel has put out in a little bit. It looks really good.
Yeah, I like that they've changed it up, or just design-wise compared to how the Origins currently is, just to differentiate. But you can still pop all the parts and stuff out and mix and match even with those figures. So that would be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
These are also bigger than the Origins, from what I
Mm-hmm.
understand. They're similar to the Thundercats that they've
Right.
just done too. So
Yeah, I heard the design team talking about it, and they said, the reason for that was when you stand these guys upright, especially when you look at the key art from 2000X, that was less squatty than the original line was. And so it just didn't quite look right using the existing parts. So they definitely created new parts as they did with Thundercats, but they're essentially the same. They might stand a little bit taller, but as you just pointed out, all these parts will swap right in with your Origins.
Yeah.
They look great.
I'm definitely going to be picking a few of these up when they come out, because I don't have a lot of MOTU stuff. I got Castle Grayskull, like I mentioned earlier, from Origins, and I got like 3 Masterverse figures. So this would probably be a line I'll go all in on, so I can have a whole set. Plus with those Thundercat X Master figures to go along with.
This is the extent of my MOTU Origins collection.
There you go.
Oh, that was the first thing I got when I told myself I was waiting for Masterverse, and I couldn't resist, and I got myself a Skeletor. Then I got He-Man and Battle Cat, and then unfortunately kept getting more. But
that's how it always works, man.
Mm-hmm. I think he looks really great. A lot of folks have talked about it already. There will be gears in here. These are really early prototypes, which brings me to, I think it's kind of interesting that from a marketing perspective, they showed up to SDCC and showed this whole new thing that they're doing. And they didn't show, like they have in the past, like 2 or 3 figures that are going to be in it. They showed like a grip of characters and figures that are going to come out. I don't imagine these are all going to be wave 1. This is probably like 2, maybe 3 waves even. Yeah. But they felt the need to like show it all now and make kind of a big splash. And, I think it totally makes sense, especially we alluded to the Revolt last year. I think there's a little bit of trying to get past that, change the narrative, right? I think there's an opportunity with the Mondo 2000X stuff coming out. I think some people were, again, typically negative on the internet and sort of saying like, why would they show these now? And, we can't help but compare them to the excellent Mondo figures. These look like kiddie toys. And I'm just like, nah, like, again, see our comments earlier, completely different audience, completely different market, like
completely different tax brackets. I mean,
yes,
yeah,
100%.
Like if you're gonna go all in on the Mondo 2000X,
oh god,
you're not going to Walmart for these necessarily. Maybe you are. Maybe you're an all-in MOTU guy, but these are for.
And if so, I'm jealous. But yes,
these are for the general populace, and the Mondo stuff, this uber expensive, super detailed stuff, is for those that can, afford to be at that price point.
Yep. And the, handful of kids that are like, that guy looks cool, I want him, and they don't know 2000X. But the other thing is, I think they decidedly leaned into the cartoon of it all, and folks have been trying to kind of compare to the original art and saying it doesn't quite match up, and some of it does, some of it doesn't. I actually just don't even know what they have access to rights wise. So like these are based on those designs, but not exactly 100%. These remind me of toys back in the day where our toys look similar to the cartoon, but not the same. Just like the original vintage He-Man line didn't look like what we saw on screen. So but they look great.
This does kind of feel like, this is going to be a weird sentence to say. It feels like an animation style of an animation style, because I remember when these were coming out originally. I was working at my store. It was in the early years of me working there, and like the toys were very detailed. The Horseman sculptins were incredibly detailed toys, and that kind of, to my recollection, because I didn't watch a ton of the series, that detail style did translate to the show.
Mhm.
And so this seems like, when you do an animated spin on another character or something like that,
Yeah,
Am I making sense?
No, you totally are. I would just say it like this. It seems like a different art director, right? Like it's still both cartoons,
so like this,
just a completely, just a different art director. So here, this is very much of its time, coming out of the 90s, the hyper detailed, a little bit influence from like the new graffiti style of exaggerated form, exaggerated proportions. But still, it's like, this is not really what someone looks like in real life, but it's trying to lean in on detail that kind of like looks sort of quote unquote more realistic. This is straight up cartoon. And even if you look at the 2000X cartoons, again, it's a little bit different because that art style was very much of its time. And so I don't know how well that would necessarily translate to now. Even though I know there's a bunch of MOTU fans who would say, I want exactly what I saw because it was great and I remember it being great, and which I get. But I don't think a lot of these companies aren't in the business of necessarily only trying to just give you exactly what we had before and only sell to you. So
I imagine that these would obviously be a lot easier to produce than something closer to like the highly detailed version of the 2002 line.
Yeah. Well, here's the 2000X. Here's what He-Man looked like, and here's what their interpretation of that. And you can see the simplified forms here. You're not seeing all the fur detail. Same here. It's actually really Jada to me. I look at this and it's got that Jada simplified form style.
Yeah.
Which feels very current. So, and then of course this is like it was very much of its time. Cool toys, but of its time, as I've been saying. But this stuff is super cool. I am kind of curious what other folks. Here's Trevor saying, I'm not a MOTU fan, but the Mondo 2000X 112 line looks incredible. It absolutely does. I was happy to see the prototypes in May, and then now to see the colored prototypes. Man, those things look fantastic. Up Nerd is saying, growing up with the original, I always liked the 2002 series. Watched it when it aired and got the DVDs much later. Solid show. That's awesome, man. I was hearing you recount like working at McDonald's and talking about Cartoon Network. I was waiting for you to say I tried to watch it and then they kept moving it and I couldn't find it anymore and I got frustrated because that was me, and I didn't get to finish it until much later when they were available on.
Try trying to catch it sometimes on Canadian television. Bounced around even more than that.
Yeah, go to my friend's house who had cable and figure out what time it was on. MOTU 2000X was the favorite of a lot of folks, including Chris Bouchard. That was his favorite. So people saying it was the best. It was absolutely a really solid series from beginning to end. Great storytelling. 2000X is what I grew up with, so I'll go all in. See, there you go. And I think this, going back to 2000X for Mattel, this activates those folks who maybe weren't buying toys or weren't buying MOTU toys and like, oh, that's my jam. I want those. I'll get to, I will jump ahead then, and then I'll come back because I definitely want to give Masterverse some love. But since we're on the 2000X tip, how about some really gorgeous, amazing versions by Mondo, who's licensing MOTU 2000X from Mattel. They've got, She-Ra, and they've got some other great stuff today. And I swear it's not because I'm a misogynist. We're going to skip over She-Ra on her 40th anniversary, which unfortunately has been lackluster. I'll acknowledge it. But right now, I'm all about this dude.
It's rad.
And they're coming out right out the bat with a great head sculpt. Mondo's done it before. They're 1/6. He-Mans are great looking. I think this is, to me, even better. Sort of a better take on the He-Man character. Different, but I dig it. And everything from the fur on the, the underwear and the boots, really cool. Lots of cool details in this thing. I'm hearing you guys saying, yeah. What's your takes? What's your thoughts?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I want these, but I don't know if I can afford to buy them.
Of course. Of course. We're
I
talking.
may go into with the He-Man and obviously Skeletor just to have the base two. That's what I did with the movie Masterverse figures. I got at least those two.
Yep.
So I think that's probably the route I'll go. But they're just so amazing. And I've always been like in awe with Mondo's stuff. I don't have anything from Mondo yet because I don't have no room for a 1/6 scale,
Me
massive
neither.
figure. And it's like, I mean, Galactus is the biggest guy we have right now until the dragon comes in, and I'm just going to end up putting the dragon around my cat slayer, because that's the only resting place he's going to have.
Those are some pretty big toys, friend. But yes,
I know. I mean, a Thunder Tank's still in the box again, and I guess I have a small house. I don't know where I'm going to put these things. But anyway, but yeah, these things look amazing. I want to get the real Ghostbusters as well, but these guys this might be what I'll end up getting into. At least the two.
Is anybody here looking to buy also the 2 and or more of these 2000X Mondos?
I really like them. I don't know how many I'm going to buy. I definitely like that He-Man, and that Clawful speaking to me, which they got paint on them. And they're doing extra heads too, so that's a big thing in toy photography, is having some different expressions on characters. So, so this is kind of right in my wheelhouse. But I don't know how many of these I'll purchase. So maybe
they haven't named the price yet, but they did say when they were sort of announcing this and the Ghostbusters that these would be cheaper than the Ghostbusters. So we're talking sub $100. When I spoke with Mondo in May, I was asking about price, and they said, we really were channeling Storm Collectibles in many ways, both in terms of the build, the size, and the price, and everything else. Not just the price, but everything else that comes with it, all the accessories, the stands, etc. So that says what? Like a low-end, low-priced price range for Storm Collectibles would be like on the $75 range, and the highs sometimes over 100. They initially said sub 100 because they were trying to like assure people after shocking folks with the price of the Ghostbusters. But right now they haven't announced it. And I'm sure they're a little bit worried about it, trying to figure out what's not going to freak people out, but also can get them what they need based on everything they're putting into this.
And they might still be figuring that out with the ever-changing tariff situation as well.
That too. Yeah. I would be super happy and kind of shocked if it ends up around $80, $85. At this point, I'm thinking they're going to say sub 100, so 99.99.
I would be shocked if that Clawful is sub 100. Because it was so much
has to be more.
You're right, and so I think they're gonna put an asterisk and say, well, we were talking about the standard figures, and then the big guys. But it's a weird thing to differentiate, because what are they charging for? Like a little over 200 for a 1/6. So they have to find ways to differentiate their products too. And it was, they mentioned Storm Collectibles. I didn't. And when they were talking about both the build and the style, they were kind of, looking at, which says a lot, because, you're studying what's out there, who's making what, who's able to sell certain things at what price. And so they're looking at that too. And, they don't want to make their figures like it's Mondo. They're not budget brand, if that makes sense. And I mean that in the abstract sense. They position themselves in the market as being sort of this prestige.
Premier.
Yeah, premier. Yeah. Brand. So,
and they're
we'll see, but look at that. Damn.
And they're not going to be flooding the market with these either. Like they're not they're not direct to order like some companies, but they're, they kind of live on, I don't know a ton about Mondo, but they kind of live on the whole limited edition aspect of it. Like, these will come out, there will be only so many, and then we maybe go back to them.
Oh, man,
and you're going to get something amazing like this cloth. This is, Dan Larson is buying this. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dan Larson is going to, Clawful for sure. Yeah.
He keeps saying how he doesn't collect MOTU. yet he buys some MOTU. But he absolutely loves. There's a few that he definitely loves, and Clawfill is on that list.
And I love that they went to the cartoon for all of this stuff down here, and it's just like, oh,
It's so good.
it's really cool. There's a lot of love and attention put into these things, and you're paying for a lot of crafts, you know, a lot of like just high level art and quality and craft put into these things. So,
I mean, if you look at what they've offered in the 1/6 scale, like those are, I know it's a larger scale, so you can get a lot more detail, but there's a ton of detail and a ton of Easter eggs and a ton of inspiration put into those figures, and to bring those down into this scale, into 1/12, and still retain a lot of that aesthetic.
Yep.
That's great.
I'm cautiously watching these. I don't want to buy necessarily all of them. You know how that goes. Famous last words. But they all look really good. I've been buying Masterverse for my MOTU stuff, but they look really good. And so I'm definitely getting one. So I'll say that. But also this little tiny thing, I was watching Geek Dad Live's coverage with the Mattel guys, and apparently this is like a floating head. So from in terms of photography, like the cartoon, in which it was like sort of just floaty, the peg comes up, and I guess these are all face plates. So the joint is connected to something up closer towards the center of where the brain would be, I guess. So it looks like you can see all these shadows in there, and it's just kind of floating within the hood. And I'm really intrigued by that. So
did they say that jaw was articulated at all on Skeletor?
I didn't hear that, but it definitely looks it to me.
Yeah, looks like it.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, they're not playing around. Even like the sword, it looks like that it's gonna split in half.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Caught that.
Yeah.
So like, you know, separate up here. They look like they rest and can connect there. And it's just dangerous.
Yeah,
so
I have to have at least one thing from every different toy company, don't I? Right?
I do think that's a weird rule, but yeah, you can go this way. Again, very different. Like you can go all in if you really wanted to collect the entire line and all the characters and have the fun of that 2000 X on your shelf. I almost said 2000 sex, which, you know, I wanted to call it out. The fanny pack. You can do that with this line, and it's cool. It's a cool representation. And then if you maybe just wanted to pick and choose, or if you have the capacity to go for it, man, and invite us all over so we can come over and play with your toys. But I will say, and we can close off on this, because it's like it's not just that 2000X that Mattel showed. They showed a bunch of cool, like, interesting things. I'll maybe jump ahead to, I'll gloss over some of the other origins. Like we're finally getting Dragstore. This was, interestingly enough, the only character that represents an old vintage toy that's coming out, or at least has been shown. Maybe they'll show another few in the next couple of months, or maybe New York Comic-Con. But the rest of these are all like concept figures, new ideas, like the Stinger for the line for Origins. You've got the Dispara in sort of Origin style, and of course this piece, which you were alluding to earlier. So you think you're in for this one then, to finally get one?
I mean, I have, like I said, I found the Origins one at Meijer a few years back. It was the only one left. I got it super cheap, like I think it was $42 after tax.
Mm-hmm.
So I was super excited because I never had a Castle Grayskull as a kid, just like when I never had a Cat Slayer and the Super 7 thing. So, and I missed out on the classic stuff, but I don't know. I kind of want to get it because I also missed out on the robot or spacesuit figure.
This one,
like when they had,
it's a great way to get all of that in one shot for sure.
I may go ahead and it's just hard because I already have a castle. Do I need another castle?
We're watching this happen in real time. We're getting a glimpse into his.
Yeah, getting a glimpse of what I have to go through when I'm at,
Yeah.
like when I went to FYE a few
Yeah.
days ago, this past weekend. I ended up picking up all 3 of these guys, but they were on sale. So it's like, and I'm
That's
like
awesome.
staring at them, and I like walk around with it in my hand, and like and I talk myself out of it, but and then I talk myself back into it. But anyway,
Well, if
but yeah, I think
you do get this one, I know. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not that different from the. If you said you
Yeah.
picked up the Origins one, it's the same
Yeah.
mold,
exactly.
and but it is kind of more in the concept original toy way. I did have a vintage one, and it didn't. So they keep calling this the vintage one. It's a little bit different. This is more like the concept. His original concept. What is it, Mark?
It's like what they put in like the
Oh.
promos initially before it came out, right? It was like in
Yeah.
the like
Taylor.
all the
Taylor,
Mark-
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mark Taylor's original concept, including this full-on like moat or Dwell of Souls mix of things, right? That we didn't get in the original that was planned. And then, of course, now to plus it, you're getting the full-on armor rather than a cardboard cutout, and
right.
you get like a definitely much more fleshed out little training thing that I think is super cool. I remember this is totally nostalgic for me. It's a cool pickup, and it's like hovers around $100. Is that right?
Yeah,
110.
I think it was like initial. I think I saw it was like initially 120, but I saw something post. I think it was Britannia that it went
Yeah,
down already to
Britannia and Toy
107.
Habits posted that on Amazon. It's already
because
got
I
like
think it's an
discounted.
Amazon exclusive, right? So,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it's already down like $107 as of I think this morning. So I may pull the trigger on it just because I mean, can you have too many castles? Like, really?
I mean,
You have to
there's
pay for all your figures to live.
There's
right?
also
Ask
different
the other members of your
eras.
household.
Yeah, or don't, and then just apologize later.
Right.
It's definitely cool. It's a cool concept. Again, I think they're just trying to tie into this year. The other thing that I didn't mention yet is that it's a movie year, right? So that's going to be happening. We didn't see any movie figures, but like MOTU is like a Masters of the Universe is they're really trying to rebuild this brand, you know, and just what 5 years ago it didn't exist in the way that it does. Now we've gone through several cartoon shows. We've got a live action movie along the way. We've got active comic books going. We've got multiple toy lines and even licensed figures by other toy makers. Like, contrary to one person's belief, the line did not end. MOTU, the brand, did not die. It's like it's actually never been this healthy. It's collabing with other famous like toy brands and you know, Stranger Things. So, but my love right now is in Masterverse, and this line just keeps getting better and better and better. This is clearly going to be a Mattel Creations exclusive because it's got its own special box and artwork, and it's cool, you know, new Eternia, different take on Moss Man with the whole like plant vibe going on.
Do they offer a flocked version of this?
Apparently they do not. So you're gonna have to.
I don't want it for me. I want it to terrify Robo. But like, do they put this out and then a year later it's like, okay, here's it with a whole bunch of felt on it.
You're gonna have to get creative and, you know, spread some of that white glue and dust on it. But it's a cool take for sure. And they didn't just sort of take Beastman and, you know, paint him. I appreciate that. But for me, what's extra exciting were these other new Eternia figures. People are like wondering, I don't know about that Keldor. I don't like, no, if you haven't gotten into Masterverse or new Eternia in particular, these figures are great. And then you get them, you realize like, oh, okay, this doesn't necessarily tie into, you know, comic book X of Keldor or whatever, cartoon Y, but it's Keldor, and it's, you know, it's a cool new take on him. That whole like zombified head with the acid kind of just burning off the flesh. Come on now.
Yeah, they said it was like mid-transition from Keldor to Skeletor.
That's cool.
You've got Keldor here. So I think it's really cool. And, you know, people have talked about, well, where does he have a white shirt or whatever? What reminds me of is actually Adam's outfit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there was any play there, but I think he looks cool. I think he looks really cool, just different. And I guess that's where I'm at, especially with a lot of my toy buying. It's like I had the stuff back in the day and I remember that stuff, but I'm also looking for them to plus it and, you know, step it up. Here's a new Eternia He-Man. Again, especially if you're like a classics collector and you have a Keldor and you have a, anti-Eternia He-Man, a new Eternia, anti-Eternia He-Man. But if you've already got those, then like here's a cool new take where, you know, you're getting his castle on a shield that actually has the fused swords of presumably other He-Mans from other universes, like this one from the movie universe, and this one, which I actually don't know what that one's from. I don't know if that's unique to him. Maybe that's his power sword. And then here's from a, you know, poor
Cool.
New Adventures He-Man that he found.
And they all there's like multiple slots in the shield for the different swords too. Like you can carry multiple swords within that shield.
Oh, that's cool.
It's gonna go hunting He-Man. Yeah, it's cool. I'm really happy to see. Like, I love Masterverse, and I'm woefully behind on episodes of this show that I'm supposed to be doing on the channel called Into the Masterverse, but I love it. And then we have Mosquitor.
Pixel Dan lost his mind.
Oh yeah. He's been waiting for this for a while.
Oh. Yeah, he in fact did lose his mind, and at least from his coverage. Oops. And you know they're showing different chest plates. They're not exactly doing the, you know, Masterverse doesn't really do features. The closest they did would have been like a slush head, but it's cool. He's never been my favorite character, but he's out there and weird, and I respect it.
The eyes on this one are very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're globe-like and really like, yeah, they're kind of unnerving, but they're great. Especially
they
when
are
you
definitely
zoom in.
Weird. They're trippy. This is very like tokusatsu, like Ultraman bad guy thing too. It's cool. I love that. I love the weirdness. I love the pink wings. But for my money, this is the weird, creepy guy that excited me the most. Like finally, what's that?
It's spectacular. I love it.
Yeah. This is. I have Classics Mantenna, and it's one of my favorite figures. It's like one of the Four Horsemen's like coolest sculpts, and I can finally feel good about potentially selling that one and replacing it with this one, because I think this is a really great sculpt. They're both great, but I know this will move well, and you know I can get them in slightly more poses than that old one. So those eyes. And just like the other one, you can pull the eyes out and replace them. They have these eyes down here.
Oh, that's cool.
Plug them in.
Yeah, you can plug them into like just the eyes into the sockets, or you can have them on the big protrusions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's too
really
cool.
Yeah.
And then we're getting a Cobra Khan as well. And these figures have just gotten better and better and better. We're getting a drag store that is like super tricked out. I'm not totally sold on the design, but I think it's, you know, again, cool that it exists. Someone called out the, the Return to Oz guys?
I was just thinking the exact same thing. The wheelies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wheelies. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
They're kind of terrifying in that movie, man. Like,
yeah, and they work.
I'll sell them short.
Over, and it's kind of cool. So
I'm waiting on a Masterverse Stinkor. Stinkor is kind of like my goofy villain that I really like from He-Man. I didn't get the Revelations one.
Yeah. Even for that one, it was just okay.
It's so fun. I want something that's got like, because Stinkor doesn't have a weapon outside of, you know, his smell. I want something that's like a little like 2000X, where it's a little bit more tricked out, and gas masks or gas canisters on his back or something like that. I want to see that in New Eternia. I think that would be really, really awesome.
And then we've got a new Etheria Despara or Force Commander. We don't know. I don't think they labeled her.
I think they said there was Force Captain Adora, which I don't know
okay.
what is different, why that's different from Despara, because I'm not that deep into the MOTU lore.
Yeah, I don't even know. In the cartoon, she was Force Captain. They also did that in the DreamWorks. They never said Despara, and I think Despara was maybe a comic thing that eventually made its way into classic. So I don't know. It reminds me of there's a McFarlane Wonder Woman Elseworlds kind of that looks very similar. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think, they could be kind of troops with her. But also, I'm looking at the armor. And Toy Habits was catching this too the other night. That I wonder if you took this off, if you get basically Adora.
Oh, good point.
Like you can see Adora's shirt under that and the white arms.
And I think she has a normal Adora head that comes with this as well.
Yep. Yeah, if I go to the next one. So there's this one. Cool red eyes. I love it. Evil. And then there's this one, and they are trying to match it. This is my big gripe with a lot of these toy lines, is that it looks like this one they are trying to match it with the new Eternia, the newest New Etheria She-Ra. Like it's similar in look. It's just a weird thing when they're supposed to be the same person, but they look very different. Get the same way with He-Man or, Bruce Wayne, where it's like, hey, that's supposed to be the exact same dude. Why do they have different faces? But it looks like they made some effort to match that.
Yeah, but if a character is magically transforming into magically mutating into another character, should they look exactly the same?
And at the end of the day, I let it go. At the end of the day, I'm the stupid guy who'll probably pay like Hordak MX to, I did that with my He-Mans. I love his He-Man face, so I replace them with his heads, and they all kind of look similar. So then we've got this. So I'm big into Masterverse, but what were some of the other MOTU stuff from Mattel that you all were interested in talking through? Thanks for indulging me on the Masterverse.
I think you pretty much covered it for me.
Yeah.
The Mantana was the one that really stuck out to me because it's amazing.
No Transformers fans here or anyone looking to go down that road?
I did see those. Those are a thing.
the Skeletor's all right, but I'm not a fan of the Man at Arms one.
Yeah, the Bumblebee one.
I mean, it's so cool, I guess, but yeah.
I think these are pretty cool. They kind of, for me, they follow a lot more stylistically from the TMNT than they do from the Thundercats collab.
For sure.
Because the Thundercats collab seems very just on its own thing.
Yep.
If that makes sense. This still kind of falls within that same, like a spiritual successor from the TMNT line.
I agree. And the TMNT and Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like 2000X is very similar to what's going on with that Thundercats line. I will say I think it's cool to sort of see Hasbro and Mattel collaborate, see the indie toy panel comments earlier, because I do think to a certain extent there's some of that. They're seeing the market changing, and they're responding by being open to things like lending each other or licensing each other their properties to do stuff with, right? And I think it's kind of cool. Like we're getting some new things. I won't necessarily be grabbing any of these. I'm looking at parts because sometimes I'll do that and see if I can do something with them. But I'm also with you that that's what you're looking. Is there any parts in particular that you're intrigued by?
Well, there was several Masterverse parts. I know the Origins line fit AWOC, so those are more parts.
Yep.
I mean, it's just a hodgepodge of different stuff I could use. You know.
I will say this guy, like a lot of the Beastman stuff, would look really good. The armors are always great, but with this one, I'm intrigued by Skeletor. I might actually just grab Skeletor, Megatron, just because I make no sense that way. But
it's a pretty cool mashup. Apparently, the Havoc staff has a transforming element to it,
which I would hope it does. There has to be a little bit of transforming going on, and I will say I like the decision to kind of do the robotic looking. It's almost like the CGI show Skeletor.
Yeah,
and I love that. Like they got to stop getting rid of or being bashful about some of the other stuff. It all counts, it all exists, and they should just celebrate it. It's all MOTU, and I love that.
That's a rad head sculpt.
Cool, right?
All the colors look really well together. It's great.
And Megatron's head is just such a great shape that it makes for the perfect helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Packaging on point. Like,
yes,
that's the one thing I was just like, okay, yeah, it's kind of cool. Transformers. More than meets the eye. All right, guys, that's plenty, man. And we didn't even like scratch the surface, truth be told, with everything that's going on with San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to cover. Here, let's switch this up so we can see the tops of other people's heads. But yeah, I mean, and thank you guys for agreeing to jump on and talk toys. I hope that was fun, man.
That was great.
Let's finish up with a couple comments, because I did want to say, like, I love that Trevor's being optimistic. I hope you're right. That would be amazing if those MOTU would be 60 to 70, maybe 75. And they might surprise us. They might be like, hey, let's take, money from here and elsewhere. Let me see. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. Wait, sorry. Let's see if we can, move money around and be okay with taking smaller margins on these guys. I don't know, but that would be amazing. And they'd sell a crap ton more for sure. I'm with Up Nerds. Like, yeah, we'll see. And then this is probably true. I would absolutely love a Decepticon Kali. But yeah, that remains to be seen. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. And actually, thank you so much for just hanging out in the chats all the time on the different news live streams. I appreciate you guys. For folks who aren't familiar, I know you guys got different things going on. Let's start with Larry and work our way around. Where should folks go see you elsewhere?
Well, I have my own little YouTube channel. I mean, like really, really little. I only do like maybe a few shorts every now and again. Larry's Geeky World. And on Instagram, also Larry's Geeky World, where I post random toy collection photos and stuff like that, and other things going on that I enjoy.
Very cool. I will put both of those links in the chat now, but also they are in the description, and I'll put them in the links that you can access by that QR code over by Brian's left shoulder, and the URL coming up. Go check that out after the show, and I'll have all that stuff in there. And don't be afraid about being small, man. I'm creeping up on the 3rd anniversary, August 14th. And so those first couple ones, it was like, I put it up. I didn't want to know how many people watch it. So you just keep doing the thing, and it'll build it, and they will come. How about you, Endless Fables?
Well, you can find me on Instagram with my toy photography. I'm working on several different customs at the same time, so get ready for some crazy stuff happening with that.
Nice.
Also do a weekly collab on Instagram for Animal Warriors The Kingdom, so that's always on Wednesday, so come check me out and check out all the great photographers in that group.
If they wanted to check on Instagram, the hashtag, it's hashtag AWOC collab 52.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct. And and I'm just around collecting toys. So
yeah, he is. Hey, I didn't leave you alone on the stream this time. In fact, you popped out for a little bit, so touche, sir. Thanks for coming back, Brian. Mr. Ryan. What's that?
I was playing around with the buttons.
Oh, well, there you go.
they move things on me, so I was like, where's that button?
Oh, it keeps changing. It's frustrating, and it is what it is. Mr. Ryan Clark, what's up with you, man? Where can folks find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Ryan Clark. I used to do, toy collection shots, but I've been learning a lot from 1/6 Shooter and the Maz's Toy Box Toy Photography Talk stream on Tuesdays. And so I've been learning and trying to do better toy photography. So yeah, you can come check me out there.
Awesome, man. And we always end up hanging out here. So come back on the Brick Something News on a live stream Sundays, 3:45 Pacific, and then sometimes apparently Tuesdays until school starts back up. And these guys are inevitably hanging out in the chat, and I appreciate them for that. So, and I appreciate everybody who's watching. Please hit that like. Consider subscribing if this is the first time you're seeing it. Otherwise, you'll probably never see the channel again, and it's super helpful. And after the stream ends, please let me know in the comments. I'm trying to get more folks to comment in the comments section. Even just a little bit, it helps. But tell us what else. What did we miss? What did we get wrong? What did we get right about SDCC? There's so much more, man. Just quick shout outs. Go check out the George Lucas panel. Someone uploaded it about 24 hours ago. I hope it's still up there. That museum is going to be amazing in LA. If you're ever in LA and that thing is open, go see the George Lucas. I think it's called Narrative. I don't know, something museum. It's like this gigantic gigaplex with like concept art, scripts, all sorts of stuff, as well as just like educating people on narrative film history, narrative history in general. So that was a dope panel that we didn't even get to talk about. So I just threw it in there. All right, folks. Thank you so much. It was a blast, Nolan. Appreciate you for stopping in. Let's see. On the channel this Sunday, Kevin Toying Around and I will be talking. That's August 3rd. Yeah, man, we're in August. I got to go back to school. But yes, Kevin and I are going to talk. That'll probably be an opportunity to talk a little bit more about SDCC because he actually was able to go and talk to a bunch of people and host a lot of get-togethers, and we'll hear from that dude as well. All right, folks, truly this is the end. Here is when I try to figure out and remember, how do I play music here? I'm going to play music, and then the audio is going to be weird for a little bit, and then we're going to wave and talk awkwardly as the thing closes. Yeah, sound like a plan? Thanks, guys. Here we go. Yeah. Still ending. You know, it's just that weird thing. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm clicking end stream right now. Eventually it'll end.